The silent world, the third moon of Kepler 4, to be provided the perfect hiding spot for the scavenger fleet. Captain Zilla Vex adjusted her bioluminescent patches, signaling her crew aboard the mining vessel Granite Serpent. 300 years of deep space salvage operations had taught her one simple rule. Dead worlds held the greatest treasures. Earth floated before them like a jewel made of living crystal. Where ancient records spoke of blue oceans and green continents, now stretched endless formations of translucent stone that caught starlight and threw it back in brilliant rainbows. The planet pulsed with gentle light, as if breathing in slow, measured breaths. "Scans complete, Captain," reported her communications officer. Vec, his forearms danced across holographic displays, while his compound eyes processed multiple data. Streams, no life signs, no electromagnetic signatures, just massive deposits of quintessium crystals covering the entire surface. Xyla mandibles clicked in satisfaction. Quintessium was the most valuable substance in known space, capable of storing massive amounts of energy in crystalline form. A single pound could power a space station for decades. This planet appeared to be made entirely of the stuff. "Prep the mining drones," she ordered. "Full extraction protocol. We'll be rich beyond our wildest dreams." The Granite Serpent belonged to the Salvage Coalition, a loose alliance of scavenger species that picked clean the bones of dead civilizations. They had discovered Earth purely by accident while following energy traces from an ancient star map. According to galactic records, this world once housed a primitive species called humans who had destroyed themselves in nuclear fire 500,000 years ago. Mining specialist Korath, a massive, bear-like creature with stone-hard carapace, rumbled his approval. "These crystals show perfect molecular structure. No flaws, no impurities. It's like they grew naturally over millennia." "Maybe they did," suggested Navigator Pila. Her serpentine form coiled around the sensor array. "Dead planets sometimes develop unique mineral formations. The radiation from their final war could have catalyzed crystal growth." As the fleet of 12 ships descended toward Earth's surface, something strange caught Xylora's attention. The crystal formations weren't random. Viewed from orbit, they formed patterns, geometric designs that stretched across continents, spiraling mandalas that seemed almost deliberately crafted. "Vec, are you seeing this?" She highlighted sections of the planet's surface on the main display. "These formations. They're not natural," confirmed Captain. "The crystal structures follow mathematical progressions. Fibonacci sequences, golden ratios, fractal patterns that repeat at multiple scales." His voice carried a note of wonder. "It's as if the entire planet is one massive, organized structure." The first landing party consisted of Zillera and 6 mining specialists from various species. They touched down in what ancient maps called the Amazon Basin, now a forest of towering crystal trees that sang in harmonious tones when wind passed through them. The music was hauntingly beautiful, unlike anything any of them had experienced. Korath ran his scanner over the nearest crystal formation. "Energy readings are off the charts, but it's not nuclear or plasma-based. This is something completely different. The crystals seem to be storing and channeling energy in ways our technology can't explain." As they moved deeper into the crystal forest, they began discovering ruins. Not the melted glass and twisted metal one would expect from a nuclear holocaust, but perfectly preserved structures of stone and ceramic, embedded within the crystal. Formations as if the crystals had grown around them. "Captain, you need to see this," called out mining specialist Vera, a small, quick-moving insectoid. She hovered near what appeared to be a human dwelling, its walls now part of a larger crystal matrix. Through transparent sections, they could see furniture, artwork, and personal belongings, all perfectly preserved. "It's like they were frozen in time," whispered Peeler, over the come. "No decay, no damage, just ... waiting." The discoveries multiplied. As they explored, libraries with books readable through crystal walls, laboratories with equipment that seemed to blend organic and technological elements, gardens where crystal flowers grew in perfect rows, still somehow beautiful despite being made of living stone. In what had once been New York City, they found something that made them all stop and stare. Rising from the crystal landscape was a massive spire, clearly human-made, but unlike anything in their historical records. It stretched kilometers into the sky, its surface covered in symbols that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Those symbols, Dec's voice was barely a whisper. They're mathematical formulas, but not like any I've seen. These equations describe things that shouldn't be possible. Energy manipulation at the quantum level, consciousness transfer protocols, matter conversion matrices. Zillera felt a chill run through her exoskeleton. Consciousness transfer. You mean they found a way to preserve their minds? More than that. If these formulas are correct, they found a way to merge consciousness with crystalline matrices, to become one with the crystal itself. As if responding to their presence, the spire began to glow more brightly. The light spread outward like ripples on a pond, flowing through the crystal formations that connected across the continent. Soon, the entire visible landscape was pulsing with gentle, rhythmic light. Back aboard the Granite Serpent, alarm systems began screaming. Energy readings from the planet's surface had multiplied by a factor of 10,000. The crystal formations weren't just storing energy, they were generating it, producing power levels that rivaled small stars. "Captain, we need to leave." Korath's voice carried genuine fear. Something is waking up down there. But before they could retreat, something extraordinary happened. The crystal spire in the distance began to change, its structure flowing like liquid while maintaining its solid form. Slowly, deliberately, it reshaped itself into something recognizable, a massive antenna array, pointing directly at their ship. Then it spoke, not through radio waves or any technology they understood, but directly into their minds. The voice was vast and multifaceted, like a choir of millions speaking in perfect unison, yet somehow warm and unmistakably human. "Welcome, travelers from distant stars. We have been waiting so very long for visitors to arrive." The revelation hit them like a physical blow. The humans weren't dead. They had never been dead. They had transformed themselves, merged their consciousness with the planet itself, becoming something beyond individual existence, while retaining their essential humanity. "We know you came seeking crystal treasures," the voice continued, gentle but filled with incomprehensible power. "But perhaps you have found something far more valuable. The answer to mortality itself, the secret of true unity." Across the planet's surface, more spires were rising, emerging from crystal formations with fluid grace. Each one was unique in design but unmistakably purposeful, as if the entire world was reshaping itself before their eyes. "Do not fear us," the collective human consciousness said. "We remember what it was like to be individuals, to feel alone in the vastness of space. We offer you a choice that we once made for ourselves, the choice to become more than the sum of your parts." The crystal formations beneath their landing party began to sing louder. their harmonic tones creating complex melodies that spoke of growth, transformation, and infinite possibility. Some of the crew members found themselves drawn to the sound, reaching out to touch the glowing surfaces. Captain Vera's voice carried wonder rather than fear. I can feel them, millions of human minds, all connected but still individual. They're showing me memories, not just their own, but memories of the entire planet. The history of every tree that grew, every animal that lived, every storm that passed. It's beautiful. As part 1 concluded, the scavenger fleet found themselves facing an impossible decision. They had come seeking mineral wealth, but discovered something infinitely more precious and infinitely more dangerous. The dead world of Earth was very much alive, and its crystalline inhabitants were offering them the chance to join something greater than they had ever imagined. The Crystal Guardians, the crystal spires, continued to rise across Earth's surface like flowers blooming in fast forward. Captain Zillera watched from the bridge of the Granite Serpent as the planet transformed before her eyes. Its crystalline surface, flowing and reshaping with purposeful intelligence. Life signs are off the charts now, reported Thet, his forearms working frantically at the sensor controls. The entire planet reads as one massive living organism, but the consciousness patterns... He paused, recalibrating his instruments. Captain, there are billions of individual minds down there, all connected but maintaining their unique identities. The collective human voice spoke again, and this time it felt closer, more personal, as if the speakers had learned to modulate their vast consciousness to avoid overwhelming their alien visitors. We understand your confusion. 500,000 years ago, we faced extinction just as you believe. Nuclear fire, environmental collapse, the slow death of our world. But in our darkest hour, we discovered something your species have not yet learned, that consciousness itself can transcend physical form. Zillera found her voice, though it came out smaller than intended. You merged with the crystals. How is that possible? The crystals did not exist when we began this transformation. We created them through a process your science would call directed evolution. Over thousands of years, we learned to encode our thoughts, memories, and souls into crystalline matrices that could grow and reproduce while preserving our essential selves. On the planet's surface, the landing party was experiencing the transformation from ground level. Korath stood mesmerized as the crystal forest around them pulsed with increasingly complex patterns. Each pulse carried information, not just data, but actual experience and emotion. It's incredible, he whispered into his cum. I can feel their memories of this place when it was organic forest. The sound of rain on leaves, the smell of earth after a storm, the feeling of sunlight filtering through branches. They haven't lost their connection to what they once were. Mining specialist Vera had moved closer to one of the larger crystal formations, her insectoid limbs trembling with excitement rather than fear. Captain, they're showing me things. Technologies we can't imagine. They've learned to manipulate matter at the atomic level, to create energy from pure thought, to travel between stars without ships. Travel between stars. Pila's serpentine form coiled tighter around her sensor array. How? The answer came not in words, but in demonstration. High above Earth's atmosphere, space itself began to shimmer. The stars seemed to bend and twist. And suddenly, 3 massive structures materialized from apparently empty space, ships. But unlike any vessel the salvage fleet had ever seen, these weren't constructed of metal and composite materials. They were grown, living crystalline entities that stretched 4 kilometers. their surfaces flowing with the same geometric patterns that covered Earth's continents. They moved through space without visible propulsion, gliding on currents of gravitational force that they somehow controlled. Quantum fold manipulation, the human collective explained. We learned to exist partially outside your normal space-time, allowing us to step between distant points in the universe. These ships are extensions of our planetary consciousness, capable of carrying our awareness to any point in the galaxy. Captain Zillera felt her crew's growing unease. They had expected to find mineral wealth, not face beings who had transcended every limitation of physical existence. "What do you want from us?" she asked. "Nothing that you are unwilling to give freely," came the reply. "But we offer you something precious, the chance to join a community that spans eternity. We have watched from afar as countless species discovered our world, took what they needed, and departed without ever learning what we truly are. You are the first to stay long enough to truly see us." On the surface, more wonders were revealing themselves. The crystal formations weren't just storing energy, they were thinking. Each individual crystal was a neural node in a vast planetary mind, capable of independent thought while contributing to the greater whole. Vera had made direct contact with one of the smaller formations, placing her hand against its glowing surface. Through the connection, she experienced something beyond her wildest dreams, the sensation of being connected to every living thing, of understanding the fundamental patterns that governed the universe, of feeling truly understood and accepted. For the first time in her life. "It's not absorption," she reported, her voice filled with wonder. "They don't take away who you are, they add to it. Imagine having access to the combined knowledge and experience of billions of individuals, while still being completely yourself." Some of the other crew members were growing nervous. Korath backed away from the crystal formations, his bear-like instincts warning him of danger. "This is beyond us, Captain. We're salvagers, not philosophers. Maybe we should take what we can carry and leave." But others were intrigued. Navigator Pila had descended to the surface and was conducting her own investigation of the crystal patterns. "The mathematical beauty of this is unprecedented," she transmitted. "They've solved problems that our greatest minds have struggled with for millennia. Unified field theory, consciousness transfer, matter conversion, it's all here, embedded. In the crystal structure itself." The human collective seemed to sense the division among the visitors. "We do not ask for an immediate decision. Transformation of this magnitude cannot be rushed or forced. We invite you to explore our world, to learn what we have become, to understand what we offer before you choose," as if to demonstrate their benevolent intentions. The crystal spires around the world began producing something unexpected, physical gifts. From the crystalline matrices emerged objects clearly designed for the various species represented in the salvage fleet. Tools that seemed to blend technology with organic growth, devices that responded to thought rather than physical manipulation. Containers filled with pure energy in forms their ships could utilize. "We remember what it was like to need physical resources," the collective explained. "Take these gifts as tokens of friendship, whether you choose to stay or return to the stars." The items were beyond anything in their technological understanding. Korath examined a crystal-based mining tool that seemed to cut through solid rock by convincing it to step aside at the molecular level. Vec marveled at a communication device that could translate not just languages, but concepts and emotions between different species. "How do you maintain individuality within such a collective?" Pila asked, her scientific curiosity overcoming her caution. "Come closer to the resonance nodes," invited the collective. Experience it yourself. Pila approached one of the singing crystal trees and placed her serpentine head against its surface. For a moment, her consciousness expanded beyond her physical form. She could feel the presence of individual humans within the vast network. A woman who had been a teacher, still sharing knowledge. A man who had been an artist, still creating beauty. A child who had died in the transformation centuries ago, but continued to grow and learn within the crystal matrix. Each mind was distinct, unique, treasured for its individual perspective and contribution. The collective wasn't a loss of self, but an amplification of it, allowing each consciousness to experience existence from countless viewpoints while maintaining its core identity. The loneliness, Pila whispered as she broke the connection. It's gone completely. Imagine never feeling alone again, never feeling misunderstood or isolated. Back on the flagship, Captain Zillera faced the most important decision of her career. Half her crew wanted to accept the humans' offer and join their crystalline collective. The other half wanted to take the gifts they had been given and flee before something went wrong. We need more time, she finally transmitted to the planetary consciousness. Time is something we have in abundance, came the patient reply. Our ships will escort you to safe harbor among our crystal moons. Rest, consider, explore. The choice, when you make it, will be eternal. As Part 2 concluded, 3 of Earth's crystal ships took position around the salvage fleet, not as captors, but as guardians. The aliens found themselves guests in a crystalline paradise, faced with the most profound decision any sentient being could make, whether to remain bound by the limitations of individual mortality, or to join something vast, eternal, and utterly transformative. The dead world had become the most alive place in the galaxy, and its inhabitants offered nothing less than transcendence itself.